Hey guys, and welcome to ellyonart Gaming. In today's video we are doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be recreating someone else's build from the housingwofdb.com but in my own building style. And before anyone gets upset, here's a quick disclaimer. Housing is extremely subjective, everyone has their own decorating style, their own taste and their own personal preferences. So by recreating this build, I'm not putting anyone down or trying to claim that my version is better, I'm simply just showing you how I personally imagine this build and how I would approach the same idea. So you might prefer the original version, some of you might like mine more, and some of you might even take this concept and rebuild this in your own different way. And that's exactly what makes WoW housing fun. This is just to give you inspiration and show you a different decorating style. So this build was originally created by Johnny Tron and his idea of swimming pool. There are just a few things I would personally do differently. For example, the windows around the edge of the pool, I would use the Goldshire window instead. They just look a bit more uniform. And for the carpets he used at the bottom of the pool, I would definitely flip them upside down and use the cleaner technique I showed you in my previous videos. So to start off, we will build the base and I'm using the Silvermoon large platforms. I'm placing them down, trying out different spacing, adjusting things until I'm fully happy with the shape. I always move pieces back and forth a few times just to make sure everything lines up properly. Now for the steps, I'm using the round Silvermoon platform. I think the round shape gives it a more elegant entrance into the pool area and keeps the whole build looking cleaner. Here you can see me experimenting with the placement, adjusting the height and making sure that the steps are actually usable and you can easily walk up and down. For the bottom of the pool, I'm using the circular woolen rug. And just a quick note, sorry the screen is a bit cut off here. I was switching between windows in OBS and I accidentally selected the wrong scene, so the preview is slightly cropped. Next, I'm placing the Goldshire window all around the pool. At first, I dyed them white, thinking it would match nicely with the brick. But then I realized that dyeing them blue makes them blend into the water way better. And for the rugs on the floor of the pool, I used the dye Vortex Steel, but you can choose any blue tone you like. After that, I grabbed the Silver Moonbeam platform, scaled it down and used it to hide the tops of the windows so everything looks connected and more complete. Now moving on to the area around the pool. Instead of placing palms on all four sides like Johnny did, I decided to frame the back side of the pool with Silvermoon pillars. And on the front, I kept the original idea of sinking the pillars into the floor. Now for the ceiling, I really liked the concept of using stones and greenery. But in the original build, I didn't like that the decoration was placed right in the center in a way that didn't blend nicely with the wood paneling. So instead I used the Silvermoon ceiling. Then I added some rocks, some greenery and my favorite combination of hosta bush with purple flowers. Then for the palms I reused the basket planter trick that Johnny used. Then we move on to the fire features. These look like they are meant to represent spa heating or a warm steam. So I recreated the small cave-like structure using rocks and placed the forge inside of it. I pushed the forge deep into the rocks so the fire looks like it's naturally coming from within the cave. For the opposite side, I did the same thing, but I used the Boulder Springs recliner, keeping only the fire portion. Now I made some changes to the back of the pool. I wanted this whole section to look more symmetrical and I wanted the waterfall to actually look like it's flowing directly into the pool. So again, I used the round Silvermoon platforms to keep the shape consistent with the steps. Then I carefully placed the fountains and rocks, making sure the water looks like it's running down naturally. To hide the top parts of the fountains, I added greenery and plants. And then I decorated the area a bit more with some plants and lights, because lighting really transforms the whole atmosphere. After finishing the waterfall structure, I move on to decorating the entire spa area around it. I really wanted this section to feel cozy and lived in. So the first thing I did was place a couple of benches around the pool, just simple seating, so it feels like a place where you can actually lie down, relax and enjoy the space. Then I created a little reception style area right next to the entrance. I added a bunch of pillows on top of the table, kind of like a display where you could grab a towel, a cushion or whatever spa essentials you might need before going in. I also added a blanket onto the floor just to make the space feel a bit more lived in. And then on the wall I hung a few blankets, positioned it so it looks like you can just grab one as you walk in. To really emphasize the waterfall effect, I added one more fountain right in the middle. For the final touches, I placed the flamingo, sunk it slightly so it looks like it's floating on the water, and then used barrel, sunk it halfway to create a little float. I have also recreated my version of this build on housingwofdb.com. You will find the link in the description down below, together with a full list of every single item I used for this build. I will also link the original creator of this build in the description. However, Johnny Tran didn't include the list of items for his build, but if you look closely at the pictures, you can figure out most of the things that he used. So now that the build is finished, let's take a look at the final reveal. So what do you guys think? Did I make it worse? Did I make it better? Is there something you would do completely different? I would really like to hear your thoughts, so let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.